Buff Nation, what is going on? I am back with a very special guest. I think this is his first time on the show. So be kind to him, even if he was a little tardy. We're gonna forgive him for that. But y'all, put your thoughts in the comments, smash that like. Let's get this thing going. The Buffs, we're back, baby. We're back to being elite. We beat up on little brother. There's no better way to be an elite than starting with a big win over CSU. Joey Richards, how are you feeling today, man? Thanks for joining the show.
Dude, I'm excited to be on. I'm excited to be on. I'm really excited to be on and talk Buffs right now because of Colorado State W. So, this is amazing. We're here. We're going to break it all down. And, yeah, thanks for having me on, David. This is a cool experience. I was on your Broncos channel, but first time on your Buffs channel, and being able to talk some college football is kind of my bag, so I love it.
Yes. We're going to get into it. We'll even talk a little bit, kind of get your early thoughts on some of the draft prospects for some of the Buffs and everything like that. But let's just get right to it, man. Let's talk about this Colorado State game. I want to know, man, how were you feeling coming into it? Were you expecting to see some of the different changes? I mean, I didn't think we'd see this, man, to be honest, but we saw Pat Shurmur cook. How'd you feel about the game on Saturday, man?
Hey, man, we did see Pat Shurmur cook, and it is crazy because, we're both people from Denver. We got to experience Pat Shurmur before this as the Broncos offensive coordinator. It didn't look pretty, but we did. We saw him cook. It was more of a Minnesota Vikings Pat Shurmur than it was Denver Broncos Pat Shurmur this last week. I thought his game plan was amazing, and we'll get into that later. But just my thoughts going in, I tried to not have any emotion towards this game. I really tried my best to go into it and be like, I don't know what the hell CU is going to be. I got no clue whatsoever. So I'm going to try to come in open-minded. We're going to see what happens. And they definitely shocked me for the better here. It's exciting. I think this was a big win for them, David, just in the fact that if they lost this game, it feels like season's a lot down the drain. If they win it, there's still hope, and this is the type of game a team can build upon and be kind of one of those season-defining wins that got you to that Baylor game where you got to win.
Yes, no doubt about it. I think when I'm trying to compare, because, dude, I totally believe that this team is different than last year's team. I think that the performance that we saw with coming again or going from Nebraska to this game was kind of similar to where we were at when we faced Stanford last year. You know, this was kind of seen as like a get right game, and we were able to get right this game. We were able to improve on some things that we had struggled with. And again, new players, new staff. It was great to see adjustments. And I think that, this is something in which I don't expect this team to peak out at week 3 against CSU. I like what you said, Joey. This is a performance in which we can build upon. Our offensive line should be a little bit more confident going into this game into Baylor. Let's break this down a little bit more. What did you like on the offensive side of the ball specifically?
I thought CU did really good in, they say if you can't, the quick game is an extension of the run, David. And it is true. If you're having a hard time running the football, the screen is effectively the same thing, or a hook, or anything quick game. And Pat Shurmur dialed up quick game against CSU. And I honestly was like, why isn't CU that great in quick game? I can't figure it out. And I kind of just said, hey, maybe Shador's just not that great at quick game. That's not in his bag. He completely proved me wrong this last game, because that's how they won. That is how they won. That's what got the pass rushers stopping from just dialing it up and going straight at the quarterback. Now they're a little more off balance. That's what got them more into, instead of we're in 2nd and long, we're in 2nd and 5, we're in 2nd and 4. This is the type of stuff that did it. I love Pat Shurmur's game plan with that, because CU's wide receivers, they should be elite in quick game, just with their ability to break tackles and create yards after the catch and stuff like that. I hope we still see more of that going into the future, and especially in this Baylor game, man. I really hope CU makes a living off of quick game. I love that facet.
And I really love the fact that you brought this up, because I had started thinking kind of the same thing of just maybe Shador's just a big play quarterback, right? Obviously, he likes to hold the ball to extend the plays, allow these deeper routes to open up, take big shots. But this was a great example of him having a game in which he was taking what the defense was giving him in a lot of situations. But also, he was aggressive to throw downfield kind of when he had both options available. You still saw him take some shots, which was wonderful. I was very impressed with his ability to just get the ball out quickly. Offensive line did a great job. And Joey, I feel like there were a couple instances where we ran some screen plays effectively, where we haven't had a lot of success of that in the past. Now, one was called back. One I did show on Twitter today. It was called back because of a LeJonte Wester block in the back or something. But what were your thoughts on Phillip Houston? Obviously, he's somebody that can kind of get out east-west, or towards the sideline a little bit quicker than what we saw from Tyler Brown. What were your thoughts on his performance? And we can transition to talking about the run game as well.
I thought the entire offensive line looked better, if I'm being honest with you. Like, you know what it is? It's less of, and I think it makes it a little tough when you bring in literally 5 new offensive linemen, like Colorado did this year, or starters, 5 new starters. All at once. It's just the cohesion was better. And you can then throw in a Phillip Houston, and it makes a lot more sense because it's going to take time. When you bring in the whole new 5, I thought first game, second game, it's just disjointed plays is what it is. It's just a lot of disjointed plays, play to play to play to play. Whereas this last game, and it felt better from the first snap to the last snap. Like, I'm seeing it in real time. The offensive line become a more cohesive group. I'm not going to lie. I think Jordan Seaton maybe it's incredible to say as he's a true freshman, but he might be the most consistent offensive lineman on the team. Like, and it's all about just getting your body in the right place, blocking people off. You don't even have to be the most dominant of all time if everybody is on the same page, knows what they're doing, and is working as a unit. And that's what I saw this last week. It was a major step in that way. And it felt like after that Nebraska game, they took it personal.
Yeah.
They didn't have a great showing. So they're going to come into the CSU game and be really good.
Yeah. Yeah. With the run game, I'm curious, with your football mind, can you explain to the viewers, can you explain to us, why did we have more success running the ball this game? Yeah.
I will do this. I think, like I said, a lot of it is the cohesion. I also do think like that's automatically going to make them better than they were against that Nebraska game. It would be unfair of me to say. I do also have to point this out. CSU's defensive linemen just aren't as good as Nebraska's either. We absolutely have to point out. I mean, the dude Seaton was blocking. I think it was, so that would be the left end. Man, he was all over the place. He didn't know what he was doing out there. But also at the same time, like I think Pat Shurmur dialed up a lot of duo, which is like a really popular run scheme nowadays. And that was working really well for them. I think the play calling was just better. And I think Shador is such a weapon with the wide receivers that it then also does make the running game better if they're able to get that going early like they did.
Yeah. You also saw, too, again, with Shador back there, sometimes you're being given a 5-man box right there, and and they're still lining up in pistol. I think it's very clear that we're running much better when the running back kind of has some time to kind of see the holes develop and everything like that. Having some momentum before he's getting to the line, that's always ideal. I hope that we don't go away from that against Baylor. Like, we got to build on top of that. What'd you think of Michael Welch, man? I can't remember if he got the starting snap or not, but like averaging, I think, over 7 yards a carry. What'd you think of his performance?
Man, he's built like a bowling ball.
Yeah.
He's low center of gravity, dude. And what impressed me about him was just like his contact balance. Those type of dudes that are that short and that wide, they're just hard to bring down. They are just really hard to bring down. You can't chop them at their legs like you can one of the taller running backs. And that's been a Coach Prime thing. He doesn't really like those 6'2" running backs. It's not something he's looking for. The Michael Welch build is very Coach Prime-esque from what I've heard. So I think he was really good. It's impressive for a true freshman. Whenever I go out there and see true freshmen dominate in the fashion he is, or play really well in the fashion he is, it's not just all off of athleticism. So much of it is physical. It makes me start to think, okay, what does this guy look like 2 years down the line when we start to actually develop this guy in the offseason and he gets bigger, stronger, and faster? It could be really scary. I thought Michael Welch was awesome. I really did. Maybe some cleaning up in the blocking game and stuff like that. He's a true freshman. He's running the hell out of the football. That's what I wanted to see.
Yes. Yeah, it kind of reminds me with his build a little bit of Maurice Jones-Drew a little bit, a little bowling ball out there, but has got enough speed to bounce some things outside, which we saw. That was really nice. I mean, I was real impressed with his vision, just being able to find those open holes. Big play after big play. I think he had, I mean, when you're averaging over 7 yards a carry, you're obviously getting a ton of chunk gains. Honestly, man, this might be a hot take. I know that I think people are expecting Dallin Hayden to be back. I just kind of want us to ride this hot hand, man. After this last game, I know that Dallin Hayden's the guy, but you can't ignore the results. Maybe he's not the guy starting, but maybe he's that next guy to kind of rotate in and get a drive to see what he can do.
Yeah. I mean, absolutely. I think it would be a disservice from what you saw this last week to not at least work him in your rotation, right? He should at least be in there at certain situations. Dallin Hayden's probably more of a clean type of prospect. Like, I know what I'm getting for him down to down just because he's not so young and he has a little more college experience. But Michael Welch, all of these snaps are going to be worthwhile for him going into the future. And he's up there. I think he's better than a lot of the other guys that I've seen out there as just a pure runner, at least on this Buffs team. So Michael Welch was a really good find, and I'm happy he's going to play. And like you said, David, I would be kind of irritated if he just got wiped off the rotation completely.
Yeah. And I think the fact that they had him do the press conference today, I think is a good omen for that, that we'll see him. I think he did say that I'm expecting to play this week. So before we dive in to a little bit more about this performance, we can talk about the defense, the linebackers, how elite we are now again, 2-1, baby. I got to give you a chance to plug what you're doing at Let's Talk Buffs. Guys, please go subscribe to them in the comments. They just started their channel. They know what they're doing. And didn't you change your Twitter handle? Did you change your Twitter handle?
I did. I'm LTB everything. I cover the Broncos as well for Let's Talk Broncos. But please, I know this is a Buffs channel. Please go follow Let's Talk Buffs or subscribe to Let's Talk Buffs on YouTube. It's going to be me and my co-host Carter Dillon, who's now in the chat. He's phenomenal as well. And yeah, I mean, I do a lot of film breakdown type of stuff, and I'm excited to build this YouTube channel out. It's going to be a really, really fun time. I think we're going to offer kind of a unique lens on this Buffs team. And if you guys like Colorado football, you guys must be following Let's Talk Buffs. So please go do that.
Yes, guys, please. That's all I ask. Let's go get them to 50 subs or whatever so they can actually do the joint live stream with me. They couldn't do it today. We got to get their channel in a place where they can do that. So I appreciate you coming on, Joey, as always. But let's talk about this defense, man.
Yeah.
Before we just focus in, I guess, on CSU. Thoughts on Robert Livingston so far? I know he was kind of like one of the biggest wild cards, I feel like, coming in to the season? What have you made of his coaching so far?
I honestly kind of liked it. I was a little worried after the North Dakota State game, but I think that was a lot of just hiding what he actually does.
Yeah.
He brings a lot of unique, different kind of crazy blitzes in those 3rd and long situations, which is kind of what I'm used to seeing in the NFL. Like, it's like, whoa, like, well, I don't know. A college offensive line isn't going to be able to block up what he's throwing at them on 3rd and long. It's going to be all about if they just have a beater for man coverage and if it gets out there fast enough. He's been pretty good. I've liked Robert Livingston, honestly. I've really liked him. In the last 2 games specifically, I'm excited to see how this team continues to develop. And you know what I'm really excited for, David? I'm excited for this Buffs team to play a passing offense. It doesn't feel like it's going to come this next week.
No.
Gosh, I want them to play a passing offense so bad. I think that's when this team's really going to be able to kick a team's teeth. And you're actually going to be able to see how good this defense is. And especially Rob Livingston.
Yes, no doubt. I've been so thrilled with the job he's done so far as a first-time play caller, I think, in his career, or maybe, yeah, I think this is his first time ever calling plays. So I've been pretty impressed. Again, we're not going up against some elite offenses or anything like that, but I think he's done a very good job holding Nebraska with how many 3-and-outs we were dealing with on the offensive side of the ball. I mean, what they have, like 21 points given up. Like, I think anytime we can hold our opponent around that number, that's very good, and it should be enough for us to win, most of our games, as long as our offense puts together a decent performance. I've been thrilled about it. Of course, it also helps when you have, a new injection of talent. Who have been some guys that have really stood out for you. And I guess we could even talk about some of the returners as well, because I think we've seen them improve as well.
Absolutely. I think the first guy that stands out to me is Nakai Hill-Grain. He brings me back to a different age of football when I watch him. David, he brings me back to like a 90s-esque linebacker football. He is out there hitting people. Like, it's reckless abandonment out there for him. And he's so good in the run. That's something I don't know if he necessarily gets all the credit for. Like, his ability to stack and shed, like, he gets up on linemen, boom, sheds, makes a tackle. You don't really see that from college linebackers nowadays. You don't see it. And he is really good at it. I thought he was kind of like a one-man wrecking crew in that Nebraska game. I think he's a huge piece to why that defense found success in that game. Nakai Hill-Grain was amazing. He was really good in the CSU game as well. I'm excited to see how he looks going into the future. It's amazing to me that he wasn't playing all the snaps from the beginning. I'm watching it. I'm like, what is going on here? Why wasn't he playing right away? He's a monster. He's their best run defender on the team, in my mind.
Yeah. I was a little surprised at first. I know that they were going to give Trevor that first shot with him returning, but I think that I want to give credit to Livingston, Prime, Coach Hart, for those guys making that adjustment very quickly. I think we had a very small sample size of Nakai Hill-Grain against North Dakota State. I want to say like 8 snaps, but during those 8 snaps, I think he had like 4 tackles and 2 tackles for loss. It was something insane like that. And then you saw him get put in more against Nebraska and him, start against CSU. I think that he's been fantastic. And it's also allowed, I think, Trevor Woods to kind of be in more of a role, kind of like a more specialized role on third down or some of these longer passing situations that I think that's putting him in positions for him to be successful. And right now I'm just loving the combination of Nakai Hill-Grain and Levante Bentley. Coach Hart's been one of those guys. He's fun to meme. He's fun to make fun of. He's fun to, rag on. He's at the top of my hot seat list, but you can't argue that I think the linebackers have just looked so much better, performed so much better this year than what we saw last year. You can credit that to, again, Livingston and Adelius Thomas coming in here as well. But at the end of the day, Coach Hart is getting better performance out of his guys. Maybe he just needed his tail to the fire a little bit, man. But I've been really happy with his performance. Who else on defense? You want to talk about defensive line? Who has stuck out to you on the line?
I'll talk about Deion Hayes. I think at edge.
Yes.
He is another guy. It feels like this defense has done like a 360, David, and just like how physical they are. And he's another one of those players that adds to it, the hitting and everything like that. I don't know if he gets enough credit in the run game like he should. He barely and rarely ever gives up ground to an opposing player. And it's just been awesome to see. And he also, I think he can continue to get better as a pass rusher because he gets on these guys and he starts to drive them back. And it's like, all right, where's your move now? Like, okay, I'm trying to see the move. Where's your pass rush move? And that's maybe a part of development still in his game. But he gets up on those guys really fast. He starts pushing them back in the pocket. He's just a disruptor. He's an F the play up guy. That's what I call the Deion Hayes of the world. Okay, I was planning on running to Deion Hayes' side, but that tackle's not getting any. He's not getting any movement over there. I have to cut it up, and now the play's effed up. It's not a stat. It's not something that goes in the box score, but it's something he deserves credit for. Deion Hayes has been a good player for this Buffs defense, and yeah, of course, he does have his lapses. I know people are going to come at me and say that because I've already seen complaints about the edge room and just like, where's the contain and stuff like that. But also at the same time, like, I think he's just been a welcomed improvement to this Buffs defense and maybe one of their best defensive linemen, if not their best defensive lineman or edge, I guess.
I think you're right, man. This feels like a real defense, man. It really does. I think that going into CSU, actually, I think I'm going to look at this right now.
Please do.
Here in just a moment, but I'm gonna pull up like the total defense rankings because like we were close to last year in FBS, and going into the CSU game, like we were still I think at 97 in total defense, but I'm like that's essentially like a 30 spot jump already.
Right,
that's significant improvement. Of course, with what we've seen against Colorado State, it was another jump. But let's talk about the secondary a little bit as I pull this up, Joey. We haven't allowed one passing touchdown yet. I believe that's the stat I saw today on Twitter. Impressive. We can talk about Travis Hunter specifically here in a minute, but secondary has been great. I think like that was something that I was really looking forward to with Robert Livingston coming in here, is that I think we were going to get better secondary play in general. There really isn't anybody that I feel like has been like a glaring weak spot in this secondary. I think we have great depth in both the safety room as well as, I mean, you even saw some guys kind of lower on the depth chart like Colton Hood come out and make some plays against CSU as well. General thoughts or standouts in the secondary?
Yeah, I just think the entire cornerback room has been really good. I like when I was watching, both Nebraska and North Dakota State games, really what got these guys beat on these passing downs were just like they had a read for what Colorado was doing on defense. And it was, let me tell you guys, it was cover one man. CU loves themselves some cover one man. They love it, man. Sometimes I'm like, damn, get out of it. But when they're in that, a lot of the times, like why you're seeing these big pass plays happen, and it's usually plays that are underneath, and they end up going for bigger gains, is because the opposing offensive coordinator just had a beater for man coverage. They're running a pick route. They're running. Who remembers that big swing pass out to the running back where the DB had to literally the guy, or it was a wide receiver, motion from one side to the other side of the field, and that DB had running him down trying to get to the other side of the field. It's just like they had beaters for the defense Colorado was out there using. So I think that was a big part of it. Preston Hodge was really good. I love the entire cornerback room. I can't complain about anything they've done really.
McKinney, Hodge, Hunter, like it's been a great three for the corners. But yeah, you can see right here, at least in total defense, man. Find ourselves up to 88, man.
Hey.
Let's keep climbing. This is what I'm talking about. Even if we're like the 60th ranked defense in college, man, that's a 60 spot jump, 70 spot jump from where we were at last year, I believe. So it's great, but I always think it's a good sign. Someone's bringing this up. Let me see. It always cracks me up, man. Steve's defense looked better without Shiloh, in my opinion. I do think we're a better team with Shiloh, but hey, you can't doubt it, or you can't deny it. We put together our best defensive performance of the year against CSU, and thought Carter Stoutmeyer played really well. Of course, Cameron Silman-Craig, I think, is one of our best players on defense. But yeah, like I'm just happy with the secondary. I hope we get Shiloh back soon, but if we are to have some injury, I would much rather that be in the secondary than on the defensive line or our linebacker room right now.
Right. I mean, what you're pretty much saying is the Buffs have really good depth. That's what you're saying, because I don't think Shiloh is a bad college safety at all. I think Shiloh is a really good safety for this defense, and he's one of those players that also adds to this defense is really physical compared to teams in the past. Even when they just go and tackle people, it's like people are trying to take the Colorado Buff defenders are trying to take the head off of opponents when they're hitting them. This isn't just normal hits. And Shiloh is one of those dudes. He adds a personality to this defense.
Yes. But of course, the guys who kind of set the tone for the team are Shedeur, Travis Hunter. I think both of them had good games. Travis had an amazing game. Let's start with him. Right now, man, how do you feel about his Heisman odds? And then I want your take on like how you feel like NFL teams are looking at him right now, and if you feel like he might actually get an opportunity to play both ways in the NFL.
Oh, Travis. Whew. So, okay. I think NFL teams are going to be odd at just how many snaps he plays a game, especially if he's able to stay healthy through this season. That's going to be a big deal.
Yes.
Now, I do think it is tough for anybody in the world. It doesn't even matter how good you are. You have to be so good to be out there and be like, you're so not only are you're going to have to go against like Patrick Surtain at wide receiver, and then you're going to have to go guard Jamar Chase. You know what I mean? That's like just like a tough ask. I think if he were to be able to play both ways, the way it would happen, and it's just I don't think NFL people are going to allow him all the way. Your best odds at that, David, are going to be he is a corner that gets wide receiver packages and more than any we've seen before, probably. I think it's harder to be a full-time wide receiver and get cornerback packages. I've never seen that before in my life. I've seen corners go out there and get some sort of packages. Prime, for example, did that. Champ Bailey went out there and did that. There are some guys that have done that. I think Travis is a better wide receiver than any of those guys. So you are going to want to play him at wide receiver. I just think that comes more naturally if you were a starting corner. Ultimately, though, I think this is a top 10 pick. It's a slam dunk.
Oh, no doubt. And
he could go number one, maybe. So,
I mean, let's hope the Broncos get this thing together, man. But the one silver lining is that if we do have another top 5 pick, something like that, man, go get this guy. Like, I would absolutely love it. You're right. It's going to be interesting to see kind of how because I don't think there's going to be a consensus on how NFL teams will handle him or like want to, if we're talking about load management, anything like that. I think you're going to see teams feel all sorts of ways about him.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think like even something like how does Travis Hunter handle the combine? Is he going to go out there twice and be a wide receiver and corner? So like, is he going to get 4 tries at the 40? Like, I don't know what he's going to do.
Yeah, how's he going to handle one-on-ones, and
yeah, Yeah, like it's I don't know how he's gonna handle all of this. We have seen players. There's that kid I think from Utah last year that came out
Yeah.
as a safety and running back,
Mhm.
and he kind of tried out for both positions, and he just kind of let the team decide where he was going to play. This is completely different because this is a guy that if whether you're evaluating him at wide receiver or corner, he's a top 10 pick. It's completely different than anything we've ever seen before. And I don't even know if you can predict it because I have no clue. We've never seen it.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is why, man, I feel like his Heisman odds are pretty good, man. As long as he stays healthy and this team has a respectable record, man. Just because he's so unique, I don't see at the very least how he's not a finalist. Let's see if anybody can overcome the SEC bias now that they've expanded even more. But you gotta love his chances right now, and I just think I'm starting to get pretty excited, man, because if he continues to have this sort of production, and we're I think at minimum a bowl eligible team, I don't think we're there without him. And I mean, 13 catches.
No.
What was it against CSU?
It was,
and he hasn't had a bad game.
Nope. I think you're absolutely right. I think it's going to be hard to deny him of it if he just stays healthy the whole year and plays both sides of the ball like he is now. We've never seen anything like it. They really, really do hate wide receivers and corners. If you have a guy that's like top 4 in college football at both positions, and he's playing both of them, and he still doesn't win it. So I think he has great odds. He just needs to stay healthy and continue playing the amount of snaps he does. And it's going to be unlike anything we've ever seen since leather helmets.
Wow. Hey, side note, man. I wish Champ Bailey got some more wide receiver packages when he was out here, man. I wish that would have happened.
Would have been a beautiful thing, David.
I know. In terms of Shedeur, man, what has been your assessment of him so far? Where do you think this is more taking off your CU alumni hat and putting on more of your JR drafts cap? I want to know your legit thoughts on this right now. Where do you kind of have him right now in this quarterback class? Yeah.
I think I want to preface this. I think CU fans need to prepare for the most biased takes you've ever heard in your life during the draft process for Shedeur Sanders. It's going
Cam Newton type stuff, man.
Dude, probably worse. You're going to start seeing some crazy things said about Shedeur Sanders that happens to random players every year. You're going to see, let me say this, you're going to see an anonymous report that something happened. I know it. And we're just all going to be like, there's no proof. I've seen it a million times going through the draft now and covering the draft. And those guys end up falling. And a lot of the time, it's because a team is throwing that out there because they hope the guy falls to them. It's a dirty game in the draft. And you got to prepare for that for Shedeur Sanders. But I think he's my number 1 quarterback. And I don't even think it's close right now. And I'm not just saying that as a biased Colorado fan. I think the only reason he's not by these NFL draft pundits, the actual analysts, is because they're overshadowed by the whole CU sucks thing going on. I really do think that's a huge part of it. Shedeur is really, really good at a lot of things. His ability to stand tall in the pocket and throw with pressure coming in his face, that's unreal. He's super accurate with the ball. If he continues to play like he did against CSU, this guy can do quick game as well. This is the type of stuff that teams are going to be really wanting. Just the skill set is really good. He's a pocket quarterback. He doesn't play without himself. He has plenty of arm strength. That's a knock I've seen against him. I don't understand it at all. He can throw anywhere on the field. I've seen him throw far hash outs a million times now, and there's been no issues. Except the Nebraska game when he double pumped, but it wasn't an arm strength issue. No. I think he is the best quarterback in this draft. I think he ends up being a top 10 pick, if I'm being honest with you.
I love it. Let's just hope, man. People are going to blow this out of proportion, but I can already see it now, man, especially with how Dude, I think this Tepper guy, this owner out in Carolina, he might be even worse than Dan Snyder, man. So
We better
I'm
pray
definitely
God
pulling an
doesn't
Eli Manning when it comes to this sort of situation. Like, I think Carolina would be a terrible organization for him to go to. At least the Giants have gotten it right in the past, but I'd hate to see him in New York. Vegas, I think, would be a lot of fun, but that would be hurtful as a
Yeah.
Broncos fan. Do you got just any general thoughts on some of the teams out there that you could see him end up with?
I low-key hope he falls because could you imagine him in Miami? Can we
Oh,
just throw that dream out there with
dude,
Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle and everything like that? That would be
perfect fit in
ridiculous.
Miami.
Whoo, that's my dream pick for Shador. If I'm looking for Shador's best success and stuff like that, if Deion really is going to be like, we might do a Eli Manning, get him in Miami. That's the place to be, man. That I think he would go off down there. It would be perfect for his career.
Yes, and right, people are gonna blow it up, man, about him wanting to dictate where he ends up. No, man, I love it. Have I don't know, use as much leverage as you can find to dictate this sort of thing because you can't control it. And before we share some other thoughts on this, I want to get to this question here from Surfer Boy, Georgia fan here, friend of the show. He says, "Great show, Dave. I like this guy. He lacks the delusion gene." Anyways, so figured he had to be a long-term CU fan. Where did you find this guy? Again, Joey, I'll let you plug your new channel, who you are, but you've been doing this a lot longer than a lot of us have. You have a great football mind. You got great analysis. Let's give you a chance to plug yourself one more time.
Hey, thanks, man. Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at LTBJoey. I also cover the Broncos. I've been covering the Broncos for some years there, and I'm just kind of expanding into the Buffs. And, David knows this team a lot better than I do. I'm just going into the film this last 3 weeks, and I'm like trying to match numbers with names and stuff like that. I'm going purely off these guys' play style and everything like that. I'm a huge CU fan. I'm just haven't been covering it as thoroughly as David. And I'm excited to continue to learn. And I hope all of you guys can kind of, learn with me about this team. So if you guys want to go do that, you can follow or subscribe. Let's Talk Broncos on, or Let's Talk Buffs on YouTube. That's our new thing. And then it's also at Let's Talk Buffs on Twitter, where I'm posting a bunch of clips and stuff like that. If you guys like seeing a little sneak peek into what I'm seeing, I'm posting a ton on there.
Yes, I've linked both channels in the description. So if you are a Broncos fan, you got to be following my friends at Let's Talk Broncos. They're fantastic. They're a hidden gem in Broncos country, and they are gaining steam. But yeah, kind of going back to this, Shador conversation, man, it's going to be very interesting to see kind of how this whole thing is played out, because conspiracy time, you got me thinking about all this draft coverage. What if it's the Sanders camp that starts to leak all these BS stories so he doesn't end up in Carolina?
That would be crazy. That would be wild. I would love to see it. That would be I mean, hey, what a way to drop your draft stock to get drafted where you want. That'd be amazing, man. I'd love to see it. Just out of the fact it would be hilarious.
Yes, it would be absolutely hilarious. Man, well, Joey, I know that we got a few more minutes left. I'll put the ball in your court, man. Is there anything particular that you feel that you want to talk about that we haven't had a chance to touch on yet?
Yeah, I just think I think a lot of fans. Okay, here's one, and I'm dealing with this with the Broncos hand puffs. I think week to week people are really quick to jump to conclusions. It's a lot of emotion after a game, right? Week to week to week. I just want everyone to pay attention to what you felt after Nebraska and what that meant for the season, and now after CSU. That's something I want fans to think about. Going into the future, one loss isn't going to kill you. It really isn't going to kill you. You just got to hope you rebound. One win is always going to change the energy of a team. Like the CSU the CSU game was huge, and I think this team can now build upon this. It's always about kind of looking bigger picture than the short, and I think that's something I hope fans keep in mind going forward.
Yes, wonderfully said. Wonderfully said that we're elite. That
We
we're
are
elite
elite.
after we were the worst team in college football. You know me, I like riding the emotional waves, the ups and downs. But you're right. You gotta keep, you know, you gotta have some context. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. You know,
Sure.
gotta stay somewhat level headed. But I like to lean into it, man. This week we won. There are some people, man, that are never going to be satisfied, man. This is what I love, Joey, is that, you know, we got a lot of players to praise, a lot of people that I need, you know, I've had to eat crow with, like Phillip Houston, man. I was so concerned last week with him coming in the lineup. I was like, I never would have told you, I never would have guessed a year later we'd be starting a guy smaller than Jack Bailey. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? And he went out there, man. He was a menace. He proved me wrong. But, man, there's always these people coming out here saying, well, it was against CSU. It was against CSU. Should we just not count the win because it was against CSU? Should we just not count? Should we just not even play the games, man?
I don't know what they want from us. I went to the bar the other day to watch the CSU game. I was at the bar. Well, I don't know what happened, but I stumbled into a Texas bar to watch this game. None of the Texas fans in there were talking about it's just UTSA when the alarm and siren was going off in the bar. No one was talking about that. It's always fun to say that type of stuff against the team you don't like. They never counted towards themselves. It's never something you actually are feeling.
Yeah. Wonderfully said. And I don't know, Joey. I guess we'll wrap this thing up, but
yeah,
I don't think this would be a proper show without me just saying again, dude, that Braden Fowler Nicolosi, man, there ain't no way he was being offered $600K, man. Some people brought that up on Twitter, and I'm like, yeah, you know what? You're right about that. No freaking way. And that guy saying he's not coming out to make money in college, he's lying. And there was nothing better, man, than seeing him get what was coming to him in that game. What'd you think about all that, man? Him trash talking Shedeur, trash talking us before the game. Do you want to talk about the fake quarterback shake controversy that ESPN's picking up and all that?
Let's talk about it. This is exactly what I'm talking about when I was talking about the draft stuff. They're going to find reasons to be mad. Like that. That's the thing with the buzz. It's whatever's going to get clicks is going to get a lot of reaction. And you're just seeing a bunch of reaction. A lot of people looking at surface level. It's the people that are just reading the headline, not paying attention to the context whatsoever. No one is going to get mad at CSU for what they did before the game, but they're going to be mad at Shedeur for reacting to the energy. Like, I can't be mad at him for reacting to that type of energy that was given, and now he's just giving it back. That's all it was. And everyone making a big deal out of it, I don't understand at all. It's a rivalry game. It's CSU. Are we really going to sit here and pretend like we haven't seen smack talking in a rivalry game now? Is that what we're doing?
Yeah, exactly. Dude, even Derek White is getting trolled on, man, by CSU fans. It's just a rivalry game. That's why I got no issue, man. People are getting all mad about how the game was handled. Again, at the end of the game, I just kind of feel more so indifferent about it. I'm curious if you got a different opinion. But it would be different for me if it was a one-score game again, like North Dakota State, where you just need to knee the ball. But it's clear, dude. It's clear that our staff, that these players, they don't have respect for CSU, and they wanted to run up the score. They weren't successful at it, but I ain't going to hate it, man. They played one of the dirtiest games I've seen in quite a while last year against us, and I didn't have an issue with it. But what say you?
Yeah, I don't have an issue at all, David. That's I'm right in the same boat with you. I don't care. It's a rivalry game. This is
where you're winning by 3 possessions and then you're trying to run up the score to just show up your opponent. To me, that just seems like Coach Prime football.
This is what we want. I mean, this is why I'm tuning in to the CSU game. I want to not only I only want to win. I want to dominate. And then after, I want to talk shit to you right after. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm sorry. This is rivalry football. This is what happens. The immature stuff that people say are crazy. I wonder what they thought about Kevin Garnett back in the day. Was Kevin Garnett immature? Was Richard Sherman immature? How about this one? And no one will ever bring this up. What about Tom Brady? Tom Brady was that guy. Why did no one ever say anything about Tom Brady about it? Like this is the type of stuff. It's always
he wasn't shaking people's hands.
Yeah. Do you remember the Richard Sherman Tom Brady deal after the game? Like that was something that happened. Yeah. Like it's a competitive sport, and you're dealing with the ultimate competitors to get to where they are. You're talking about a first round quarterback. This is the type of stuff that drives him anyways. So yeah, whatever.
Joey, it's been a pleasure, man. We got to do this more often, and we got to do it so we can do the multicast on your channel now. I'll give you one last time to plug your channel. Again, thank you so much for coming on, and let us know what's coming up next at Let's Talk Buffs.
Yes, please. Again, subscribe to Let's Talk Buffs. Thank you, David, for having me on here today. This is an awesome show you have here. I tune in a ton. I hope you see me in the comments and stuff like that. This is an amazing show. This is my go-to Buff show here. So, yeah, I'm just appreciative of you having me on. If you guys want to subscribe to Let's Talk Buffs, please do. My co-host Carter is having a show in the next couple days, and then I'm having a show with him after that. We're going to start going 2 a week. Please, please, please subscribe.
Yes, please do it, y'all. And please be sure to like and comment. Let us know on the replay. You got a score prediction for Baylor, all that. Let us know in the comments. But Joey, really do appreciate it. Again, we'll collaborate soon. Until next time, guys, again, please smash that like and subscribe. I'll be back with some film rooms tomorrow. Go Buffs.
Go Buffs.
Joe.